Anyone with a question? Yes, yes. Yeah, yes, Larry, we can hear you. Myself. Yeah. I do mentor those guys coming into tech. Uh, so you can send chat me on WhatsApp, and we will talk. Yeah. So we can now proceed to getting started with Laravel. And what we're expecting from this first topic is that we are going to learn how to install Laravel, how to install Laravel, and explaining the structure, the different folder folders, and also the files in the framework, as well as basic configuration. So this is useful because those guys who want to learn Laravel, or who are already working with Laravel, they should be able to have a foundation understanding of this. And also you'll be able to learn something new. Probably you've worked with Laravel, but you didn't know that I can use this file to do this and this. It's always a learning opportunity whenever you meet with people. So be open to learning, get to understand, or get to get to get something from the session. So we'll be able to set up Laravel, understand what is Laravel, and how is it important to your day-to-day work. So I think that is clear. We can work with a few of the minutes to 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 see what we can cover from this. So uh, huh. So our first topic is getting started with Laravel, and this being our first week, that is the first topic we'll go with. So welcome to this session. It's going to be a short session, and it will be an interactive one. So getting started with Laravel. So we want to know what is Laravel. So we all know that even before uh, we proceed, when you get into the field of programming, you've had terms like frameworks, languages, coding, developers, engineers, and so on. So these are just terms that you need to familiarize yourself with. And a framework is basically comes from a language. So it's just a grouping of codes that make up now this framework. So a framework is basically uh, codes in core languages that have been grouped in order so that it can ease your work as a developer. And that's why before working with a framework, you need to understand the language itself, so that when you write a short code on a framework, you are able to know exactly why this is written in a short form, and so on. So Laravel is a PHP framework for web developers, and as you've probably worked with Laravel, you will find it easier to work around with, and also you'll be able to. You've also noted that Laravel code is easier, and as you're able to get community of developers, even on the internet. So Laravel basically is a PHP framework that is based on MVC. That is an architecture that allows you to develop your application, or that controls how requests are sent into the application. So it uses model that is responsible for manipulating the data in the database, views that is responsible for what you're seeing on the interface of your application, and controller that um that channels or handles requests. Most of the time, people put business logic on the controller, which that is one way, but ideally a controller should be able to handle the requests that come into your application. Then it takes, or it exchanges that, or sends that request to either a service class or an action, and so on. So that is the architecture in which Laravel works on. So there are the other frameworks work on different architectures, like uh, uh, Django, a Python framework, works on MVT, that is the model view template. Then you'll see that other frameworks have different architecture. So it's important to understand that. So why are we learning Laravel? Laravel is important because of how it handles requests. It's built. It has built-in tools like those authentication, routing, caching, and even more that you can work with. And also it has a diversified ecosystem, like the one for Laravel, Vogue, Vapor, Nova, and a lot of products under Laravel. So this one you can check on. You can check this on. You can check this on 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 Laravel.com. So you can be able to see the products that Laravel has, or the products that Laravel is working with. So, and also we understand that Laravel has a community of other developers that are ready to support, and also the documentation is easier to understand. So that's clear up to there. So in order for you to work with Laravel, you need to have basic knowledge of PHP. And since Laravel is object-oriented, PHP is object-oriented programming language, so you need to understand what OOP, object-oriented programming, is, and how it works with PHP. So you also need to have familiarity with the basic scripting and styling and HTML. So that is the basic. I think that's the basic where everyone can start. Even if you're starting with as a backend developer, you'll always start with writing HTML. That is the markup language. So it's important that you have a basic understanding of the web, or how websites operate. So guys, welcome. Those that are joining, welcome. We are proceeding, or we are proceeding with getting started with Laravel. So you also need to familiarize yourself with Composer, PHP, and have a code. A code editor of your favorite code editor. So others use VS Code, others use PHP Storm, others use Atom and Sublime Text, and different code editors. So it's important that you have this understanding before proceeding to to learning Laravel. So once you have those prerequisites, so the first thing that you need to understand about Laravel is that we've said that it is a framework, and this is its official, and this is its official site. So it's a PHP framework for web artisans. So for you to get started, you need to go through the documentation. So whatever I'm presenting is just a summary of the first part, that is getting started and understanding the different directory structures. So, so before installing or working with Laravel, you need to have Composer. Okay, so Composer is basically a dependency manager for PHP that allows you to work around with Laravel. So you need to have this one. So it's you can be able to get Composer on Windows. You just download an executable file which you will install, and you'll be able to you'll be able to see, I mean, you'll be able to install Laravel. So once you have Composer, in your application, then there are different ways in which you can install Laravel. And so the most common one is the one that you use, Composer create project, Laravel, then the project name. That is what people are used to. However, there are other ways you can install Laravel on your application, and one way is through Laravel installer. So this Laravel installer is basically you install Laravel on your computer, like it goes to the as a global installer. So once you run Composer global require Laravel installer, it will allow you to, I mean, it will install Laravel. Then for other projects that you want to create, you'll just be running Laravel new, then the name of the project. For example, I'll just take you guys to let me create a simple let me just try one of the commands so that you check. So I'll open my code editor here. That's VS Code. So I have opened VS Code, and I want to create a new Laravel application here. So as I've said, one way of installing Laravel is by using Laravel installer. So that is we'll go with Composer. where is it? Composer global require Laravel installer. So once you run this application, so it installs Laravel in your own computer, so that whenever you want to create a new application, you only need to write Laravel new, then the name of the application. I mean the name of the application that you want to create. So we'll allow it some time. So this requires internet. So once you have this, you just need to go and say Laravel new, then project one. So once you have this, then Laravel will be able to allow you to create Laravel that is 0. You will follow the step-by-step procedures like this. Undefined function. Okay. Paste. Okay, this one is refused. This one has errors. I don't know why. So, but ideally, it should be able to allow you to install Laravel new project 1. I think this one has an issue. So, but if someone can try this, they should be able to install this one. Now that I have installed it twice, it has brought some issues. So we can proceed. Let me assume it will install. So the other way is to clone the repo from GitHub. This is the one that is maintained by Laravel on GitHub. So this is its repo. So you can clone from the repo, then you install. The other one is to create a project, then install kits like Breeze or Jetstream. So as you've seen from our console, is that in the process of installing this, you can choose it to come with the starter kits, or just the starter kit has some predefined codes for authentication and other functionalities. So you should be able to install with that. And so the other one is the local cell. This one is usually, it's not commonly used. However, there are some people who use it on production apps. So on the servers, on the private servers. So that one is used. Then this other one, this is the common. This is the other common way of installing Laravel. We can test this one and see if it works. So let me see if it works. So this one will install Laravel. And from the way you're seeing, it's just installing step by step. So it's composing all those files that are required for Laravel to run. So this is the normal way that we do it. And by default, when you are installing Laravel, it comes with the latest version unless you specify the version. And the same command, is it? You see, the same command. So in this command, composer project Laravel project name. So this one comes with the default. The current version is version 11.6.1. So if you don't specify, it comes with the default or the latest version of Laravel. Otherwise, if you want to specify, you just put a quote after the project name, then you put the version. Also, when you check your console or your terminal and find that it is taking long to install, always check your internet connection and confirm that your internet strength is like you have a good internet strength. Okay, so that is it. So meanwhile it is installing, and I think the reason is because of my network. So up to there, does anyone have a question? Kuna mtu ako na question? Or we can proceed. Anyone? Hilary, Brian, Daisy, Susan, Larry, Collins, Dennis, Enoch. Gloria? Gloria is registered. Yeah. 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 Thank you, Gloria. Yeah. Ad was introduced. Was it last year? It's in one of the system. Yeah. This one. It it was last year, and it's an easier way of working around with PHP if you don't have. I mean, if you don't want to install those server things on your local machine, so you can just download this ad on Windows, and it comes with Nginx, PHP, MySQL, and other things that you'd want to work with. So thanks, Gloria, for that. So if you want to get ad, it's on its official Laravel website. So that is it. Anyone else want to comment or add something? Okay. So Brian, you have a question or a comment? So you can just proceed. We can proceed. So now after installing Laravel, mine is taking long, and it's because of my internet connection. But once it's installed, we can no. The next slide is dependent on it's dependent on the completion of that installation. So this one is taking long because so anyone with a question? Oh, there is a raised and which hand is raised? It's glorious and yeah, you forgot to lower it down. So any other question? So you guys can assist me as well on checking the comment section. I see someone is asking, is someone speaking? I can't hear the sound. Someone was speaking, and that someone was me and Gloria. Brian. So I need that PDF presentation. I'll share the presentation in the groups after this. Then this arrest and no. Share the PPT notes kindly. I'll share that, Brian. Thanks. Anyone with a comment or a comment? I mean, a comment or a question. So feel free to interact. Like, feel free to ask a question. Feel free to comment, to add something that I might have left. Yes, Irene, you can unmute and speak. Irene, unmute and speak. Yes, you can. Yeah, we can hear you. Yes. Each community has its own. Each community has its own group, either on the internet or on WhatsApp or Discord. So currently, ours is just on focus on Laravel. So for that, I'll advise that you first take your time and check the resources online for HTML and CSS and JavaScript. So I'll advise you go either through W3 schools. I mean W3 school. Yeah, that is what I've been learning with or okay, depends on you which one you're good at. If you can start with learning on blogs. Yeah, W3 schools as good content for those who want to learn anything. Yeah, you can do that or go to YouTube and get confused with those videos on YouTube because YouTube has a lot of noise. You need to go there when you have first-hand information. Yeah, so please note that so that is it, Irene. Can or free code camp. Someone Enoch is suggesting that free code camp has good content. Yeah, it's video based, but now you get there and get a 7-hour video or YouTube video. I don't know. I don't know. You can just check what works good for you. So we can proceed. Remember, when you're working with Laravel, depending on the team that you're working with, if you're a corporate dev or a freelance dev. You can choose to or a consultant. You can choose to choose you can choose to work with any Laravel. Laravel what? You can choose to work with any Laravel version. So remember, you can specify the version of Laravel that you want to work with. So that is it. I don't know this one. Okay. Ah, yeah, it's okay. We will work with whatever as installed here. So the next step, the next slide is the folder structure for Laravel. So Laravel has different. I need to find a way of magnifying this window. I don't know. I don't know how to do it. Do it. It's Control Shift. Good. So you guys can see the folder structure for Laravel. So Laravel comes with all these folders and files that once you install them. Thanks, Hilary, for sharing. You can as well share on that content on our WhatsApp group in any of the WhatsApp Laravel Kenya, Laravel Nairobi group. So it comes with this. So this project name is whatever you stated. If it's an application you're developing, it's a best practice to put the name of the application. For example, if it's a school management system or something like that with the best naming practice. So it comes with all these folders: app, bootstrap, config, databases, public, resources, routes, storage, test, vendor, and all these other files. So this is where I'll need you guys to help me as well. So there are some folders that I've not worked with, but if you have something to add on, you can just add on. So I'll start with the app. So the app is is basically the app folder has different other subdirectories in it. So there is the HTTP, there is the model, and the provider. So in HTTP, we have controllers. This is where now your controllers, or controllers are where we define the business logic, or ideally, it should be where the requests are channeled, or what handles the requests. So that is the controller. So this is where probably most of us put the business logic of the application. So it is in our pipeline. So the person who will be covering this will tell us more about the controllers. Then there's the model. The model is where we put our models is where it handles these are files that interact with our databases. So this is where we can define how we get data from the databases. So, or how to interact with data in our databases. So that is the model. Then the providers have it has this file and other files that you can define by yourself. For example, there are things that you would want to. There are service providers, like there are packages that come with. There are packages that need you to register the service providers, where you are able. Those service providers are things that you need in order to work with a specific package. So it's important that you understand that. Then there is bootstrap. kindly mute. Then we have this bootstrap has other files which uh, when you're working with packages and when you're working with middlewares, you this is oh sorry I didn't mention, guys. This we are working with Laravel 11 by default. So there are some files that were compressed, or there are some files that Laravel uh, compressed and put it into files. So this is where you work when you're working with Laravel 5, Laravel 11. This is where you put your middlewares and you register your middlewares and so on. And there are providers. There are these other providers that is dependent on packages most of the time. And I don't remember when the last time I used this. So we can then proceed. Then there's this important folder. There's this important folder called config. So this one has configuration files for the application. For example, if you want to control the time zone, if you want to set the time zone, if you want to work with other services, like you're working, let's say for example, you're working with Airtel Money API or Safaricom API. So for you to store or for you to work with their secret keys or any other API keys, you will be able to work with it on this folder. And inside this folder, there are different files. That is the app. This is where you can define the default name of the app or get the app name from our env file. So there are several things that you can be able to check from these files. So this is in this same file is where you'll be able to probably add or manipulate other default configurations of the application. So there's auth that is responsible for defining the authentications settings. This mostly when you're working with your application as the application as your application as is you're working with different guides, that is the web or the API. You should be able to work around with this. So sometimes you'll run into issues that need you to debug. So these are the files that is responsible for that. Then there is the cache files. These are default files. Most of the time we don't manipulate these files because they come with the framework itself. Then there's the database that is responsible for working with the different databases, connections, and everything. Okay. Then file systems, anything that deals with file uploads, downloads, and so on. Logging, responsible for auditing and so on. Mail is responsible for mail and getting information from env file as well, defining the default mailers, and so on. What else? We have the queue, we have the services. You see, when you're working with now the APIs or any other external services that you want to work with, maybe it's an API. This is where you put now your API. You see, it comes by default with all these mailers, Slack. If you want to work with Microsoft, is it Microsoft what? Microsoft Teams, notifications and so on, or emails and so on. It's in this service file where you work with. Then there's the session, managing the session timeouts, when a user session or a database session should be reset, and so on. Then we have the database. The database section handles migrations, factories, seeders, and any other thing. So this we will be able to understand this in our next topics. So factories are basically files or classes that you use to populate your database with fake data or data that you want to sample in your application. Migrations are what defines the structure of the database. So this is where you write, this like a query. It asks the create and other queries that creates your table. Then the seeders are basically like sample data. They work around. I mean, they work together with the factory. So you can decide to generate seeder from the factory or the other way around. We have the resources. The resources are where you put all your views, the assets, and the language files. So this is where if you want to style your application. So if, for example, you're working with Tailwind or Bootstrap, this is where you can be able to manipulate your stylings in. So they are under resources. And also this is important because when you're working with in a full stack application, you'll be able to work with these resources where, so under views is where you include your whatever you want, the UI components, or if you're working with liveware, you should be able, I mean, this is where you create your layouts and also include your blend files. So up and inakuwa on views. Routes are the entry. I mean, routes are where it contains either web or API.php or web. With Laravel 11, API.php is not included. But if you want to include, you just run a command for installing Laravel. Installing API. PHP install API. This could not open. Okay. So if you want to put API dot, so that when you're working with Laravel, an API, so when you're working with an API service, you should be able to have an API.php file, or you can create it on yourself. I mean, you can create it by yourself. So this one comes without the API.php, unlike the previous versions 10 and below that came with API.php. So this is where you put your routes or the links or the URLs that works with your application. Then I've forgotten the public folder. Public folder is where this is the entry point of the application. You'll notice that when you're working with, when you want to deploy your Laravel application either on the shared hosting or what's this, on the shared hosting or even on AWS cloud services, you at one point you will have to either work with HT access or the index.php, manipulating these autoloaders and all these handlers. So the entry point to your application is through the public folder. Okay, so this is where it all starts. So Laravel starts here. What else? Routes. I'm done with the routes. So routes, there are routes. This is API when you're working with APIs. Web. Nakusikia. Mm. It depends with the structure of the application. If you've done the full stack way, then it is through the API, through the web.php. But if you're working with a front end guy, let's say someone is working on a React app or a TypeScript, you've done your logic or your functionality, business functionality on API.php. So yeye on his end is working on a front end application. So ni yeye atakuwa ana consume. It is him that will be consuming your API service. Yeah. So that is it. But most of the time, most of the beginners, it's usually good to work. I mean, you always start with the web.php. Usually, that is where everyone starts, unless you're working with. I mean, unless you're starting as a backend developer. But this is the rite of passage. Like everyone always works with the web.php at one point. Yeah. Okay, welcome. So console.php, this is very, very important. Sometimes you want to create your own commands or you want to run your own commands. For example, you want to populate, you have a command that populates permissions or roles to your table and you want to automate it. So this is where you put your command. For example, by default, Laravel has created for you a command that if, let's say, umeboeka and you want to get motivated, you can just run the command php artisan inspire. Then it gives you a random quote. So this is one of the commands that Laravel comes with by default. So if you want, you can create as many interesting commands as possible that will help you work around with your application. So another thing is sometimes you'd want to work with, let's say you want to send notifications to users. Let's say good morning text to probably your boyfriend or your girlfriend. You can automate such things. Yeah. So you write your command that sends good morning text to either your lovely friend, and they receive this probably on a scheduled time and so on. So this is also important that you understand. Okay, so we proceed to storage. Storage has also different folders. That is the app. We don't usually use this, but it has some important information. But storage is basically where you track your logs. Usually I use this for tracking my logs. Like there's a log file that is created here when you're working with Laravel, or when you encounter an error. A Laravel log file is created here. So for example, if I let me tamper with this and get an error. Let's say. Yeah, so you see it has created a file, a Laravel log. So this is where now all your errors will be tracked. You see the way this error, you can be able to see why am I getting an error. Sometimes we debug errors, yet we don't know the reason. So Laravel.log inside the storage as the reason as to why you're getting those errors. So there are other packages that can help you work around with logs, or other advanced techniques that can help you work around with logs. So that is it. Then anything else? Storage tests. This is where you define your tests. That is the PHP unit test or any other tests that you have, the modular tests that or that you work with on your application. So ukitaka kutest your application, or you have test cases for your application, this is where you have it. So we will cover this again later on our sessions. Then there's the vendor. This is where now your application depends on. So for you to run every other thing, so there are files that is responsible for that. This is the vendor, and it's usually not included in the when you're pushing to GitHub, because it has a lot of files that can slow down your deployment, that can slow down your deployment. Then there are these other files that that you need to understand. This .edit config. .edit config is not. I have not used this one, but you should be able to, at your own time, research and see. Then there's the env. This is the backbone now. This is where you define your application. If you want to change the name of your application, the type, if you want to change the time zone and everything, the URL, when you're hosting your application on, let's say, on a cloud storage or somewhere else, you can edit this. Okay, so it has the database credentials, it has the sessions, broadcast, and so this one works along with what we said, the config file. So it's important, the config, the app.config, this one. So you get, so for anything that you've put inside here, inside the env, you work with it, like you access it through the app.config. Okay, so that is it. Another thing is .env example. This always comes with the application. When you're pushing your code to GitHub, you notice that .env is not there, because that is what the application is currently using. So it is not pushed on GitHub because it has sensitive information. So don't push sensitive information or sensitive information like API keys or any other information that you think is important to these collaboration platforms. So this is just basically it's basically a template for the env. So when you're pushing to GitHub or someone else is cloning your repository, they should be able to start from here. I mean, they get .env.example with all the configuration, but without the important information. So kuna there are these other files, git attributes. This you can be able to manipulate this. It is something that works with GitHub. Kuna git ignore. This is important because this is where you define which files need not to go to GitHub or GitLab or any other platform. So up and down I define, like, I don't want to send .env or to commit to push .env or any other file to GitHub. Yeah, so we will cover this on the best practices for working with Laravel later on. I mean, in other sessions. Then there's the Artisan. Artisan is a command line tool for running Laravel application. So this is the file that allows you to run this, that allows you to run these Artisan commands. So it's important that you understand that. Okay. Inspiring. Okay. So what else? Composer.json, very important. Sometimes you're working with Laravel, and most of the time probably you want to uninstall a package. You installed maybe you installed a package, and you like you're seeing that it's not working. So this is where you uninstall it or you remove it from your application. So to work with this one you can be able to even like downgrade the PHP application. I mean, the PHP version that your application requires you to have. So this is an important file, because most of the time when you are working with Laravel, or you've cloned your Laravel application. I mean, you've cloned a Laravel application from GitHub. Usually, the first thing that you encounter is something on Composer, or something has failed. Probably your application requires that you have PHP 7.8, yet unatumia 8.2, and so on. This is where you manipulate your application to align with what the other packages. So kuna unaweza manipulate the PHP version, the framework. This you can manipulate this only when you're working with custom packages. When you're developing a package and you want that package to be compliant with this version of Laravel, you manipulate this and other things. Description of the application. This helps with SEO and something else. So kuna this one, it has a lot of things. So if you dig deep, you'll be able to understand each of the configuration or the variables Then there's this composer.lock. Composer.lock in a lock, it locks dependencies versions. Like it ensures that your application runs consistently on different environments. So it's another file that we rarely use it, but it works behind the scene. Package.json, for those who have worked with Node.js or Express or JavaScript, they should be able to understand that this file is important because it manages anything JavaScript or CSS dependencies or front-end scripts. So if file this is the file that is responsible for anything that if your application is working with other applications. So this is where this one is responsible for that. Then there's this PHP unit. This is when you're working with test cases. Up until this is where you define this XML file. Like you can be able to define to change anything here. Another thing ni readme file. Readme file, you see whatever you see on GitHub repos. This is the description of the application. So you can be able to see it. I have an extension that I can preview. So this, whatever this code is, this is how it looks like on when you push on GitHub. So it basically you can usually you can edit this one. Okay, so you can edit this one, and it ideally it should describe your project when you're going to. Those are some of the best practices. So it should describe what your project does and also give instruction on how to clone and so on. Another thing, another thing is what have I forgotten? Tailwind.config, configuring Tailwind, self-explanatory. Vite.config, same way. These are files that for the applications that I've worked with, I've not manipulated these files, but the most important files are composer.json, env, .git ignore, readme file, and all those other folders. Okay, so that is it. Where are we? So yeah, so this is just what I've taken us through. This is the continuation. Then I think we're almost done. So basic configuration. First thing that you need to configure when you're working with Laravel is the env file. The file that we say that it is responsible for configuring your application variables. These are the env. Where is it? The env file. So this is where you set your API keys. You can set it here, or you can set it on service under config. So this you can set your application name, you can set your email configurations, your caching mechanisms, your sessions, your databases, your other third-party services. Usually you can set it here. You can change the name of the application, but this will not allow us to do that without a code. Remember, on when working with the env, the value of the variables should not have quotes unless you put, should not have spaces, white space. So unless if you want to change the name of your application to 2 names, you can either put a quote, then Laravel app Kenya. So this one will work. Okay, but you will not work with it this way. No, it won't. It will draw an error. Or another thing is you can either use special symbols. Okay, underscore underscore or underscore and other things. Those special underscore and hyphens and so on. So first thing is ensure that your credentials are inside here. Don't add code your credentials on code, because on different basic or business logic, because once you push those credentials on GitHub, someone can steal those credentials. So it's important that you consider that as a security feature. Okay. So another thing is you need to configure the app dot under configuration. This app dot php. The same way you need to write your services. You can define your services here, or you edit this one. Okay. Time zones and so on and everything. You can manipulate them here. Okay. This other one, database and so on. So you can define the default database that you want to use, and all other things. All these files under configuration is what you can configure. You configure first before you even write your code. Okay. So another thing, like we can go to now. If you want to, once you've done the configuration, you've understood what your application consists of, you've done your configuration, that is setting your credentials for databases, APIs, and so on. Now you go to running your application. This is common for those who have worked with Laravel. You can use this. I'm not sure which other command you can use, but I usually use this one. So if I run php artisan serve, the environment file is invalid, failed to pass .env. So you see, I edited my env file, and I'm getting this, this error that I have edited my env file and I changed the application to Laravel Kenya app. So this is wrong. I need to go to the application and change the name. Then once I run it, you see, so it is telling me that server is running on this port. Okay, this URL and port. So this means that your application, you can now check, you can now run your application. Okay, so if I go to 127, then I run it. So this means that we've successfully installed our application, that is Laravel, and it is ready to serve you. So this is the default route for Laravel, that is the /. So it gives you this landing page for Laravel. It tells you the version of the Laravel you're using and the PHP version, and gives you basically the redirections to Laravel. So you can, this URL is basically /. Okay, so that is it. So once you open this on the browser, you should be able to get it. That is what we've done. Then I think we've come to the end of our session. So it's important that you understand that when you're setting up your Laravel application, understand the structure and plan how your workflow will be before even writing code. Writing code is simple. Like you can even generate code from GitHub. I'm sorry, from these large language models like ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and others, Cloud AI. But you need to understand your workflow first. Solve the business flow in your mind or on paper. Then it's important that you build scalable and maintainable applications. So yeah, that is it. The next step from here, for those who have joined us for the first time, Just go through the documentation, check. If you get to understand it, fine. If you don't understand it, you can ask questions on either of the two groups. People are supportive there. They can help you. So our next step again is to experiment with routes, controllers, and views, because those are the next thing, no, the next topic. Yeah, that's the next topic next week that we will cover. Another thing is, for those of not joined our group for Laravel Kenya, Laravel Nairobi, please, the link has been shared on the chat. Kindly, you can join the group. Sawa sawa? Yeah. So you can. I don't have any other thing to add. I'll invite questions. But before questions, there are some things that I would want to share with the team, and these are the things that these are the pillars that always encourages me or keeps me pushing on in programming. And one thing is that if you really believe in yourself or in what you're doing, just work hard or work smart, as people always say. If you get a blocker somewhere, there's always someone with a solution to what you to what to the problem that you have. So reach out to people. Never give up. So never give up. Don't don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to yourself. Yeah, check what compete with yourself basically. What you see is, you see, when you see an expert in a field, you're just seeing their results. They are not it's not you've not figured out how much sacrifice they made, or the time they took to learn what they are good at. So don't envy anyone, don't compare yourself to anyone. Find your own pace, go with your own pace, but be willing to learn and be willing to take time to learn. Okay? So keep learning, keep experimenting, ask questions, like don't don't uh semaje, don't feel like usiogope, just ask questions. When you don't know anything, ask. So the only true wisdom is knowing that you know nothing. Okay. So that is the end of our discussion today. And you can always connect with me on Twitter. I am active there. You can email me. You can GitHub. You can check my GitHub repo to learn something. I always write blogs on Dev2, so you can get Laravel blogs or backend, specifically backend content on GitHub. So sorry, sorry. I always write my blog content or articles on Dev2. So remember to check that, and also on LinkedIn. Let's connect. So we can just proceed to questions. Kama if anyone has a comment, question, an addition, subtraction, or anything. So I'm seeing Enoch here. Enoch, unmute and speak. Poa. Mm, 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 mm. Like you're creating such email. Where do you want to create it? Yet there are services that offer you that. Maybe I should ask that way. Mm-hmm. Or you want to be an email service provider. Kama like Google. Like Google. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, okay, I've not done it on Laravel, but when if yeah, yeah, you can do it, you can. It's possible. It's, I mean, everything is possible with programming, depending on what route or how you approach it. So one way I'll do that is if I'm using, like, if I'm using cPanel, I can write a script probably on Python, or I can yes, I can write an application on Laravel that interacts with now the services on, I mean, my service, and it will be able to allow people to create and also pay via the same via the same. So yeah, 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 it's possible. Yeah, ask ask copy ask copy, you can lower your end and speak and unmute and speak. Yeah, good evening. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I also started with Laravel. Nini, sorry. I also started with Coordinator. But the last time I worked with Coordinator was 2019 there. And I saw it that I could do anything with it. But now, you see, the reason as to why you change framework is first, how popular that framework is and your goal. Probably you've seen in different markets or different job posts that people are looking for developers. If it's PHP, they mention Laravel, or maybe Symfony, or maybe Coordinator, or probably it's Laravel. So you don't see why you should use Coordinator and so on. So it depends with your goal. Firstly, find out if whatever you're building, to what capacity can Coordinator go, or to what scope can Coordinator take you? Like, if there's nothing you can not do with Coordinator, you can again proceed to doing. I mean, you can proceed with your Coordinator. But the reason as to why you will go with Laravel is because of the community is there. Number two is that it is advancing, and that it has different ecosystems and capabilities, and even the code is I mean, the like code is very simplified, and I don't remember like code igniter. Sijui how the code looks like now. Ni kitambo ni work nayo. But if you want to like build those modern applications, like ziko na different features and so on, you can just check to what scope. Basically, I might not have the correct, I mean, the right answer for you, but check what are these features that limits me on Coordinator. That's when you choose. I mean, that's when you choose to shift to another framework. Mm, 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 mm. Exactly. Uh, so for M-Pesa payment or coordinator, I've not worked with that, and I don't know if anyone in the team can help with that. Maybe we can someone can raise their hand and I mean or can indicate if they can help us copy. But I've not worked with Laravel, sorry, M-Pesa API on Nini on 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 Code Igniter. So most of it is on Laravel. So and I don't know if Ume research on GitHub. Yeah, able to try to find out your research. Do your research. You can as well post the same question on the WhatsApp group. Those guys can help you. Someone might have implemented that. Yeah, so on coordinator venye umesema like queries are not going to 50 queries, then that is now the time for you to think of coming back to I mean going to Laravel. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just giving you a solution. I mean, an answer because okay, probably you've not researched it, which might not be the best way, but so you need to have credentials from M-Pesa. You need to have paybill that channels money to the bank account, not just another paybill that like that or paybill or till that goes to your mobile. I mean, to your mobile SIM card. No. So you need to have the pay bill, you need to get credentials from Safaricom. So when you get to Safaricom portal, there are steps on how to do that. So get a pay bill, you should have a business, registered business or a registered company, then request for credentials from Safaricom, then you'll be able to integrate. Meanwhile, before that, you can just integrate using their platform, their inaitwaje, Daraja platform. It's kind of a development environment where you test their APIs. Mm. Where's the money going to? Is it going to your mobile number or to a bank? Is it going to bank or to a mobile number? No, like if I pay to your till, does it get to your account on mobile or on bank? That's fine. Then you need to get a letter from the bank showing that you have an account with them. Then that is the letter that Safaricom will need for them to register you and get those consumer key and consumer secret. Yeah, as soon as yesterday. It took me 3 months because I was doing it like I dedicated my time. So I came from PHP. I left CodeIgniter, went to PHP full, like full. So when I was shifting to Laravel, it took me 3 months, and it took me that short because I was working on a project. So if you have a project you're working with, so think first of a project that you want to work with, then that's when you will avoid those wasting time on reading content or tutorials. Okay. Any other person? So someone was commenting here. Patrick Ngare was saying, choose Laravel if you want to build robust and scalable modern applications with advanced features. Choose Coordinator if you need a lightweight, easy to learn framework for simpler projects or rapid development. Yeah. So so people are asking for the link, for subgroup link. I okay. Let me check. Patrick was the one who shared the group link and Juliet. So I've reshared the link as well. Now, is there any other question? Evans was asking, what is the best OS to work with in coding? Any OS can work. The best OS that you can work with is the one that you are able to work around with. Can you share the Laravel community link? Shared. On which days and time will we be having these weekly sessions? It will be on Tuesdays sessions, Tuesdays sessions, and we were planning it to have 1 hour 30 minutes, and this one has gone beyond that. It's almost 2 hours now because it is our first session and we needed to put things into perspective so that every one of us can be able can be able to get started. So it will be on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. unless otherwise communicated, but it will be 8 p.m. Okay. So I don't think I have another question. Is there any other person with a comment session? Who is this? David? David, unmute. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Laravel, you see these details ndio Laravel inatumia kunini ku create data. Initially, I don't know, in the previous versions Laravel haikuwa ina create database for you, but in Laravel 11 you get that when you've not created this one on, let's say, XAMPP or any MySQL or any database management system yenye unatumia, it will ask you if you want to create it. Okay, so for example, if I have a database called Laravel Kenya 1, Laravel Kenya 1, if I go to PHP artisan migrate, itaniambia kama PHP artisan migrate, why is it giving me this? Oh, sorry, acha nieke MySQL. Root password. So if I choose PHP artisan migrate, itaniambia could not open. Hey, there's a file I've laid around with amani. There's something nimefanya yenye very true. Very true, very true. I was not in that project for Yeah, so if I run PHP migrate, itaniambia nini? You see what it's saying? Would you like to create it? Laravel Kenya does not exist on my SQL connection. You get? So Laravel, the new version 11, inakuambia hivyo. It will create for you once you just set it up here. Then the migrations, what you said, will be covered in a previous in other sessions. But you create with that. You have two ways of working with databases. You can either create it using migration, or you can have a file that you can just have the nini the naitwaje, you can write just a PHP file with the create those nini naitwaje, create commands or scripts, alafu there's a way you write, but the standard way is using migrations. So you can create a migration that creates a table with all these. Okay. Mm. Nakusikia. David umepotea. Mm. 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 Yeah, iko kwa NV. Hiyo database ulisha create huko. Ulisha create kwa, so kama uja create bado inaweza create hapa. So we just put the details. Usually what people miss hapa ni nini? To indicate the connection and these credentials. Unaona? So ilikataa, unajua in programming you don't say that this thing has refused to work or it's not working. No. It must have given you an error. Unaget? So hiyo error ndio you need to communicate with the person whom you want akusaidie. So if you need like side chat me on WhatsApp, then I will assist you. We'll check. Okay, okay. Any other person? And any other person with a question or a comment? You wanna? It's that time of the day that people are tired, or some people wamekuwa hapa for like long. So any other person anataka comment? Gloria, Michael, Mark, Kennedy, Irene. Where are the tech babes here? Larry, June, Joshua. Where are the Laravel babes here? Yes? Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're most welcome. Mm. So, kuna mtu mwingine? Any other person? Yes. They are different people. First I want to know, like, how did you guys get the link to our today's meeting? I'll be interested to know so that I know how we are doing it the next time. Oh, so are you not like hauko kwa nini? Hauko, you're not in the group, the Laravel Kenya or Nairobi group? Oh, yeah. I think it went global. I shared this on WhatsApp, on WhatsApp, nini, on WhatsApp, Laravel Kenya or Laravel or WhatsApp. So what I was saying is, uh, what I was saying is, you see, we've come up with topics, different topics for Laravel that we'll be covering. So it's the core topics that are important when you're starting Laravel or you're advanced in Laravel, including beginners, foundational, nini, and so on. So uh, all these topics that are that are in the documentation. Now there are other topics that are not in the documentation, but these are the experience based that we get from our different workplaces or when working on an individual project. So these are like, we will have debugging sessions there, integration, kutakuwa na integration sessions, that is, someone will be taking us through how to integrate maybe payments, services, M-Pesa, Airtel Money, or any other money APIs, or even third-party APIs, or even developing other applications. So all this will be covered by different people. So my purpose for this session today was to introduce you guys to these topics, like letting you know that first, there are people who don't know that there's a Laravel groups on WhatsApp. Then second is that what we'll be covering over this year or over these weeks that we will be doing this. Then alafu there will be different speakers. So I have Excel sheet for where I register people who nini who I have an Excel where I register you if you're covering a certain topic. So if you are interested in sharing any of the topic that you have seen there, I'll share this topic. I mean, I'll share this link to the group so that you go through the topics and let me know what you guys or each one of you want to cover. Kama kuna the one that you're good at or you're interested in covering or presenting to us, then you just let me know your name, your email address, and the mobile number, so that I'll be informing you, or I'll be reminding you on when your session is. Yeah, umeelewa mpaka hapo Gloria? Okay. So Collins, unmute and speak. Sawa. Collins, let's go to Neville. Neville. Yes, Neville. Collins, I think, yeah, I have recorded it. Yeah, I'll check. Yeah, record. I'll check, I'll refine it, alafu I'll share. That is, nimerecord vizuri. Sawa, Collins, check your mic, please. Neville, umemaliza kuongea? Okay. Yes, itakuwa. So nitashare hata before I forget, let me just share it now. I'll share this link yenye iko na topics that we will cover. Then if like ukitaka kuregister, or if you want to nini to cover any of the topic, you just inaitwaje, you just inbox me with your name, email na mobile number, then I will put you into the list. Then I will always remind you when you'll be presenting to the rest of the people. Yeah, Collins, ulikuwa you wanted to ask a question. By the way, our session has ended. If you can feel free to leave. The rest of us can leave, wanaweza baki behind. We ask random questions. That is, if we are not keeping you here, we can chat, can have random chat. So my question is just one from Collins. I am beginner in tech. How do I cope up with the requirements or demands of developing, and where can I start from? So you are a beginner in tech and you want to cope with the requirements. How do you go about it? So you are a beginner in tech. Tech is big. Collins, tech is big. Kuna different branches in tech: machine learning, data analysis, machine learning, data science, programming. Under programming, kuna mobile development, desktop application development, web application development. There's IT support, there's customer support, IT support, cyber security. So tech is wide. Tech is an umbrella. So first get to know what you want to do out of those branches of tech. Go to Google, angalia different branches of tech. So you will get that tech iko na a lot: machine learning, data science, engineering, hizo vitu zote. So you need to see ni nini you want. Have a goal. What do you want from this tech? Everyone wants to learn tech, or everyone wants to learn coding. Why do I want to learn? Then from there, you have a goal that this is the reason as to why I want to learn tech. Then once you have a goal, that goal you need to develop. You need to look for someone who will guide you, or people who are in that field that you want to learn based on your goal. Then those are the people we call mentors, or those guys that will lead you they will help you reduce the time that you'll take to learn whatever you want to learn. Those are mentors. So look for someone who will hold your hand. Then that is the person you'll get, like you'll reach out to whenever you get stuck. Alafu now the rest is just whatever I've said. You believe in yourself, do work hard, don't compare yourself to others, go at your own pace. Yeah. Okay. Iko sawa, Collins? Up to there, are we okay? Nani anaelewa mkono? Enoch. Is it? Sorry. Eric.
Yeah, it's Eric. Mine is a quick one.
Yes, Eric.
I think the group, I think last year, I got linked through Moringa because I was there.
Yeah.
Now, it happened that in Moringa, that is what we were taught majorly. My background is not in tech completely, but now at least I know I can do a few things with what I've learned so far. So why Laravel? Why do you click on React, JS, or I know sometimes you do have to